I'm Huon Hooke, and this is The Real Review. So today we're about to taste the Penfolds 2017 Bin 28 Kalimna Shiraz. A very famous wine with a great pedigree. It goes back to 1959 when the famous Max Schubert first created it. He created a lot of the famous bin number wines of Penfolds. This wine is it's a very good entry-level wine for people who want to start cellaring Penfolds wines, because a lot of them are quite expensive now, and let's face it, we can't all afford, $100 plus a bottle. This one you can buy for around about $40, $45 in most shops. The recommended retail is $50. This wine, of course, is not a straight Barossa wine. Penfolds Kalimna Vineyard is their most famous vineyard in the Barossa, in the northern Barossa. Kalimna is the name of the vineyard. This wine was originally just Kalimna Vineyard, but these days it's blended from many regions around South Australia. The 17 vintage is Barossa, McLaren Vale and Padthaway. It's interesting because at a time when the rest of the wine industry, or a lot of the wine industry, is focusing on individual vineyard wines, this is a blend. Why is that? Well, it's Penfolds tradition, partly, but even more than that, it's Australian red wine making tradition. In the past, blends were much more prevalent than single vineyard wines. The art of that, of course, is that you can produce this wine every year to a style, and you can make it consistent or relatively consistent by blending between vineyards and regions and sub-regions. Whereas if you relied on just one vineyard, it would have a lot more variation from year to year. So Penfolds are aiming at consistency with this wine. So I'm going to taste it now. It's a very, very bright purple-red colour, as you can see, nice and deep. It has a typical Penfolds character on the nose of blackberries and earth and graphite and all of those complex minerally rocky characters that you get in good South Australian Shiraz. Complex wine, but it's going to be even more complex in the future. It's quite full-bodied, but it's a beautifully tailored wine for drinking now. You don't have to cellar this wine to enjoy it. It can be enjoyed now, but it'll be so much better if you leave it for a few years. The tannins are quite grippy, but they're not overly stringent. They're soft enough to drink it now. We rate it at 92. I think that that's probably a conservative rating. As this wine ages, it will get more and more complex, and I would quite happily give it a higher score when it's mature, but 92 it is today. The drinking window is from now until 2032. That's a very conservative drinking window, but these wines in good vintages tend to last for 20, 30 years, no problem at all. Especially if you had it with the food, and Penfolds recommend you serve it with osso bucca or braised lamb shanks, and I think that's a very good suggestion. I would go along with that. Really good wine now, good length of palate, good structure, a bit more robust than most modern South Australian reds, if I could put it like that, but not so robust that you need to put it away and forget about it for a while. A really smart wine, and drink now and for the next 20 years I would have no problem with that, especially with the screw cap on it. It will keep very well indeed.